Hiya, welcome to this week's and this year's first The Story of a Poor Boy. Happy 2019. I'm Mikey.
I'm Matt.
Yep, so we've treated ourselves to a lovely long break over Christmas. Liverpool have treated us all to some absolutely fantastic football since we've last recorded.
It's probably a good job we didn't do any over the Christmas period, because it would have just been us two crying, going, "Oh my God, it's so good!"
Yep. So since we've last recorded, Liverpool have played 6 games, won 4 of them, lost 2 of them. Actually, it's not as good as I thought it was going to be, to be honest. But I mean, what can? It's not even about what Liverpool have done as such. It's about what other teams haven't done around us.
Yep.
I guess the 2 losses we're talking about have come against City, and they've come against Wolves as well in the FA Cup.
Doesn't count. It's fine.
But yeah, exactly. FA Cup gone. It's one of them. The loss against City could have gone either way.
But we'll get to that.
Liverpool sit at this stage of the season. Liverpool sit having played, is it 22? Yeah, 22 games. Liverpool sit 4 points clear of Manchester City at the top of the Premier League. With
That's nice to hear.
I know it's mad. It's mad when you think about it. Like our goal difference at the moment is plus 40. Man City's is plus 42 as well. So that insurmountable chasm that they'd got,
it's gone.
Has just gone. It's disappeared completely. Well, nearly completely. And Christmas couldn't have gone better, to be honest. December literally couldn't have gone better. Liverpool played 8 games and they won 8 games.
Yeah, December was absolutely brilliant, and it was recognised by the rest of the Premier League with Klopp and Van Dijk getting Manager and Player of the Month. I think Van Dijk was the first defender to get that award.
3 years.
Was it 3 years? I thought it was about 6.
I think. Yeah. Well,
okay, a while.
It's been a long time. I can tell you Jan Vertonghen got it last.
Okay.
So it's been
a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while since a defender did it. But yeah, he deserved it completely, didn't he? Let's be honest. He's been incredible over this period.
He even got a goal, which means the song almost makes sense.
Yeah,
that's the one thing that bothers me about that song. We don't watch him score much.
We've seen him score.
We have seen him score.
Yeah. We'll change the words to that. We'll watch him defend, and we've seen him score. It's probably easier. Yeah, but on the flip side of that, the other song that's going massive at the moment is Roberto Firmino. Give him the ball and he scores every time. That's just not what happens.
True. But if you do it against Arsenal, he does.
Yeah, he does. He loves a goal against Arsenal. Yep. His first goal of the seasons at His first goals of the season at Anfield this year come as a hat-trick against Arsenal in this little period that we're sat here talking about.
It's nice, isn't it?
It is. It's madness. Who would have predicted that Christmas would have went this well? When we signed off after the United episode, we just kind of went, all we can do is just keep playing our games and hope for the best.
Keep trying to win our games, and then we did.
And the best is unthinkable, really, or what's happened at this point in time. There was a point where if Liverpool had beaten Man City, we would have been 10 points clear, and we'd be sat here just planning May.
I don't think I would have been able to cope if we did, so I'm almost glad that we lost, because I would just be sat here crying. I don't think I'd have stopped.
Just logged onto the Premier League website and Ryan Babel signed for Fulham.
Oh yeah, I saw that on the bus earlier.
That is fucking madness.
It's weird. Yeah. The one thing that they need is probably not another attacker. It's probably someone who can actually defend.
Especially not a fucking attacker who can't attack.
Yeah. He's got red hair. Leave him alone. He's a red.
Fucking hell. I'm just heading back. I'm just taking myself right back to when Liverpool actually when we played Man United. When was that? So,
sometime in December.
It was, wasn't it? No, I'm just looking for the table for it, to be honest. My phone's just not working for some reason, but I just wanted to see how the table's changed since then, because we are dealing with Man City have just fell off of a cliff at one point. Now that we're talking, they seem to have climbed back up, and now they look as strong as they have done all season. But
we lost to Palace, we lost to Leicester,
which are Liverpool's next 2 games. So looking at it looking at what Man City have done, it is terrifying how easily it happened. It seemed to come out of nowhere as well. That they just kind of they lost their rhythm.
Yeah, well, it's when they lost to Chelsea. They didn't really look right after that. Obviously, they played Everton straight after that, but Everton never going to really put up a fight, are they? But then the 2 games immediately after that are Palace and City, which they go on to lose both of them.
Leicester.
And Leicester City. And they go on to lose both of them, and it looks like heads have gone. It looks like they're kind of like focusing on what we're doing because we just keep winning games, and that they don't really. They keep trying the same thing and the same thing, and Guardiola's plans and tactics are so good that they don't really need a plan B. But when they do need a plan B on the very, very rare occasions, they don't have anything. They just keep trying to punch this brick wall of Palace and Leicester, and it just doesn't work. Obviously, Palace's win went down as like very lucky for Palace, but I think Leicester thoroughly deserved their win against City.
I think the main thing you can take from City's loss of form when it came about is how important Fernandinho is to that team.
Definitely,
he's allowed to get away with murder every week, and he got a yellow card against Wolves the other day, and my head absolutely went. Couldn't believe it.
Yep.
But I mean, going back to that Palace game, they do batter Palace, and Palace have 3 shots on goal, and they score 3 goals, which calls into question the keeper a little bit. Although he's not doing anything about the Townsend strike, but you're looking at City's overall squad, and the attack, and we could sit here all day and praise their attackers, and fine, world class. But when you look at the midfield, they have literally got Fernandinho. He's the only holding midfielder, and then when he's missing, you immediately start looking at the defence and questioning how good the defence is.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
The defence has been put against 3 tests, and it just hasn't stood up to any of them at all.
Yeah, I've been saying for a long time that City's defence isn't actually as good as what last season made out. It's just because if teams can actually get at them and back themselves to get at them, they can expose that defence. John Stones isn't the most confident of players. He's great on the ball, but I don't think he's that tactically aware. Left back is always a weird situation at City because Mendy just has no ankles or something, and then they play Delph or sometimes Danilo, sometimes Zinchenko, and it's a bit makeshift a little bit. Like our back four's been in the last couple of weeks, but like we've got the defensive stability of like Van Dijk and Alisson to make that makeshift defence work. I think City don't always have like company fit to be able to do that.
I think their Van Dijk isn't company, their Van Dijk is Laporte. And the problem that they've got is Laporte, whilst he is their Van Dijk, he's not even nearly as commanding as Van Dijk is. He's a very good centre-half, and I'm not saying for 1 minute he's not, but if it was rumoured that Liverpool were going to get Van Dijk, and if we couldn't get Van Dijk, we were going to go after Laporte.
Yeah.
And when I would love Laporte at Liverpool, but not instead of Van Dijk either, because he just doesn't do the same kind of job. And also, you're looking at Ederson as well, and you have to question his. Well, I'm trying to think of the right word there because I don't want to say authority, but when he's the way he commands his penalty area, he's coming out of it a fair bit, so he's not really in charge of it at all at points in certain games. But like yesterday against Wolves, he just ends up in midfield because he feels like it. But like the fact that City can be derailed by the missing of Delph, the Mendy, as you've said, Fernandinho, and Kyle Walker comes out of form as well. It really shows that Liverpool's key players hold it together a lot more than Man City's do.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Like the fact that we can sit here now and Matip is back in training, but at one point this month we had Lovren, Gomez, Matip all injured. Alexander-Arnold's fitness was in question as well. Moreno's an idiot, and but we're still looking at it and we're like, As long as we've got Van Dijk and Alisson, it's fine.
Yeah.
They don't sit there and go, as long as we've got Ederson and Laporte, they sit there and go, oh, fuck's sake, we haven't got Fernandinho, we haven't got a left back, we haven't got a decent right back. I don't know, it's just, I think if you ask Pep Guardiola who he'd rather have as his commanding presences, I think he would probably prefer ours.
Oh, definitely.
To be honest. That's not to say theirs aren't brilliant as well, but we spoke a lot about Man City already.
Yeah, enough about them. Let's talk
about Liverpool instead. Yeah. How good have we been?
December was just so good.
December was great. I'm really upset it ended, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like we've been talking about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. Like, this Liverpool team's really good defensively. We haven't quite clicked going forward. We clicked in December. We
did. I mean, I wrote an article on it about the effect of Divock Origi's 96th minute winner, the effect on moments on a season. Give it a read if you haven't already, please. But it like, when we first say that, it does come across as if we're just trying to wind up Evertonians. But when you actually look at the results, there's a correlation between that happening and Liverpool just deciding Burnley, Bournemouth, Napoli, United, Wolves, Newcastle, Arsenal. Yeah, fine. We'll deal with them. And then our next game, comes at the end of that massively, draining run of games. It's Man City. It's our title rivals. They've got a lot more depth, attacking wise anyway, than we have. Somehow Vincent Kompany gets resurrected for a game as well.
And at this point we're 7 points clear. Yeah,
and that's the thing, isn't it? Like, as we've said, Liverpool could have maybe. I mean, you can never write Man City off, but at 10 points clear, you could have started thinking that maybe it was done and dusted.
Yeah,
you can't now. Like, 4 points, obviously, but I mean, if you'd have offered us 4 points at the start of Christmas, I mean, at any point this season, I'd have ripped your hand off, to be fair, other than when we could have been 10 points, obviously.
If we'd have beat City to go 4 points clear of them, we'd still be celebrating now. The fact that we had the 7 point lead and have let it slip to just for 4.
It's the old adage of when you go away to a big side, a big rival, and you're like, you know what, I'll take a draw here before kick-off. And then you go 1-0 up, and they come back, and then all of a sudden the draw doesn't feel like enough.
Yeah,
It feels like a bit of a loss.
Yeah,
it is that kind of thing, and it was devastating on the day to a point, but only because Liverpool lost their first game. Do you know what I mean? Liverpool had lost their first game.
I was really gutted that we couldn't be the Invincibles.
The Invincible
I
Centurions.
wanted to be Invincible Centurions.
Yeah, I wanted to have it.
Just fuck City and fuck Arsenal off. We're the best team.
Yeah.
Like, just put to bed that whole argument. What's better, Centurions or Invincibles? We'll just do both, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been incredible.
Yeah.
There's no shame in losing one game in a season, I guess.
That is
true. But, I mean, I can't even believe that we're having that conversation. Liverpool lost one game. Looking at that run over Christmas, we could have come unstuck. There are places we could have come unstuck. United, we spoke about United previously already, but United could have definitely been a dodgy game for us. It has been in the past.
It's United, it's Mourinho. It
was Mourinho.
Had all the hallmarks of just a terrible game for us. Then we had Wolves away, which is
taking more points off the top six than anyone.
They're not easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Ask us last week, not easy.
Exactly, and Newcastle, Rafa loves setting up to be a bit tricky. Obviously, his record's not great at Newcastle, but that's not his fault. No matter what Richard Keats and Rio Ferdinand will tell you,
I'll be on the other side and say we're always going to win that one. Sorry,
that's absolutely fine.
They are dog.
It's all well and good saying that, but you can only beat what's put in front of you.
Yeah, no,
and true. Last season we struggled against Newcastle until we won 2-0 at Anfield, and got a draw because me and you had to go and watch Kingsman to cheer ourselves up.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
So, if you take teams for granted, you drop points from the Premier League.
Yeah. And then after that was Arsenal, which everyone had down as like Arsenal have been rejuvenated. They've been unbeaten for about 46 years apparently in the Europa League. Aubameyang was scoring goals every game for a fucking laugh. And then they scored against us. They opened the scoring, and I think some memes were born that Arsenal kind of like poked the bear, and then the bear just punched them. And we scored 5, didn't we? It was good.
It was the Arsenal game was just beyond comprehension. It's just the point where I realised how good this Liverpool team is, because we just went, no. not today.
How dare you score against us at Anfield? Fuck you.
Yeah, can't be arsed with dealing with you. So
like,
instead,
I think my favourite tweet after that game I saw was someone was like, Arsenal are like that kid in school that's flicking the back of your head, and you react by turning around and punching him in the throat.
Yeah, you just turn around and knock them out.
And you know what? I don't think Arsenal have been the same since. I think we broke them. Honestly, I think we have.
We've done that to a lot of teams.
United and Arsenal are now level on points.
That is ridiculous.
We broke Arsenal.
Arsenal were due to break anyway. To be
we
fair.
broke Everton as well. Everton were doing all right up until our game, and then they lost 4 of the next 6 or something stupid.
Yeah, we did break them a little bit, didn't we? I was just sitting there looking for. I can't remember where I found it, but there was an image of Liverpool's season, Liverpool's results from last season compared to Liverpool's results from this season, and like how it stacked up so far, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a weekly post on Reddit. Just gets updated with every game.
Yeah, and the only thing that does terrify me is I think we've drawn, like, that's why I was looking for it. I think we've drawn like 5. We drew 5 games of our last 6 opponents this season. We drew against 5 of them last year in the corresponding fixture from last year. So that's a bit like, you know, Liverpool have obviously moved on from draws this season, but it's still a bit. Can't take anything for granted kind of thing.
Some of my next fixtures aren't the easiest. So we've got Palace at home and Leicester at home, haven't we?
Yeah.
While City have Huddersfield away and Newcastle away. Arguably easier fixtures, but then the 2 after that, I think
they've got Burnley at home as well. Oh no, sorry, that's the FA Cup. Never mind. Sorry, can't read. Yeah, they've got Arsenal and Chelsea. The 2
exactly.
After that,
yeah. Our next 2 after that are West Ham away and Bournemouth at home.
West Ham away terrifies me. You know, terrifies me. It's just they just played so well against Arsenal the other day.
Yeah, but that's a broken Arsenal.
It is a broken Arsenal. You have got a point there, yeah. And City have got Everton away coming up as well, which would be absolutely fantastic if Everton were to find a bit of form from somewhere.
They won't. Come on.
They won't.
No, they won't.
They won't. But it's the hope that kills you, Matt.
Yeah, their fans don't even want them to win that game.
No,
I doubt the players do.
No, that is very true. To be fair, they've all but written off that game, I think.
Yeah. You remember 13-14 when they went ahead against City?
And some of them were booing.
Yeah,
remember that. They've got West Ham and that as well. City's hard games remaining seems to all be at fucking the Etihad, except for they've got to go away to United like we do. Which is true for us as well. But I can't believe how many home games Man City have played this season. I think we're on to 23.
They've got 7 home games left.
Games.
We've got 9 home games left.
They've got 7 home games left.
Yep, we've got 9 in the league at least.
I mean, I'll trust your judgment there, but I see City on the left-hand side of the columns here a lot more. Oh, fucking hell. That's ridiculous. I feel like they've just been playing at home
7,
perpetually. Right, fair enough. That's fine. All right. Well, I mean, what it all boils down to is, though, Liverpool win 14 games, they're Premier League titles. Winners. Liverpool win 4... Is it 14? It's 15. 15. 15 games. Liverpool win 15 games. They win the title. The only issue is they've got 16 left.
Yeah, this is true.
And that does include Merseyside Derby, United away, West Ham away, which I'm convinced will be a trickier game than people are giving it credit for.
Yeah.
Tottenham at home, Chelsea at home.
This is on the proviso that City win all of their games, all of their remaining games, and I just can't see it though.
I can't see.
I said it at the start of the season, City will not be as good as they were last season. City to beat us from this point on, like to gain those points, like providing we continue at our pace from the first half of the season, they have to be better than last year. They have to be better than last year to beat us from this point. If we just carry on as par.
See, whilst you say that, Man City had won the title by November last season, so they could just they could take their foot off, and that's why they didn't beat Huddersfield, for example, and that's why they had to wait till the last day to get 100 points. Man City this season.
Do you think they weren't trying to get 100 points with all their might last season?
Did you watch the Huddersfield game last season?
Yeah. I like to think that was like heroic from Huddersfield. Absolutely heroic.
All right, you can
rest in peace, David Wagner.
Oh fucking hell! I suppose we should talk about that at some point as well. Yeah, I just think that Man City know that they're in a title race this season compared to last season, where they were just like, we've won this, it's fine. We can put our attention elsewhere. All right, the 100 points was always just in their back of their minds, but they never had to get out of first gear for the second half of the season. Okay,
but do you think they've got it in them to be better than they were last year over the second half of the season to beat us to the title?
They've definitely got it in them. Whether they can do it is a different thing. I would, if some of those fixtures were reversed, I'd say no. But it's just looking at them like, I mean, the fact that they've got Arsenal and Chelsea after one another would normally be like you'd play one of them away at least. But because of how it's worked out, instead they've got them both at home, which that's if you're going to play two of your rivals, your big rivals, then you want to play them at home.
Oh, of course, yeah.
After one another, and you want to play them in that order as well. You want to play Arsenal first because it will take less effort to beat Arsenal than it will Chelsea. It's just there are little things that just seem to just fall in their favour. Having said that, our last 6 games are. I mean, they should be a piece of piss, to be honest. If Liverpool carry on the way they've been playing this season, Liverpool shouldn't drop any points after. I think it's. I can't remember the last hard game. I think it's Chelsea at home.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like.
It's a decent run after that.
Yeah, I think our last 6 games, like fucking Cardiff, Huddersfield. I think, if I remember rightly, Leighton Orient are in there somewhere. It's just like we get to a certain point this year and we're home and hosed, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And which feels weird to say. But Liverpool basically have to be perfect from this point on. Liverpool have to be...
Yeah, there's not much margin for error. We've got that 4-point gap. We can afford a loss. Maybe.
I see both City and Liverpool dropping points away at United this season. I didn't see it before United went to Tottenham, and I think Tottenham assisted United by being absolutely fucking terrible, and not enough is getting levied at Tottenham for how bad they were, because they let United have all the fun in the world, and then every shot they had went straight at the hair. It's all well and good people saying, positioning and stuff like that. Literally every single shot, he didn't have to fucking move his feet to get near them. He's just saved them with his foot. Like, if you actually watch the shot, if he'd have just stood still at the victim anyway. Fucking ridiculous. But I do think that United playing 2 teams they absolutely hate, they can stop either of us. It'll be lovely for them anyway. It's a sign that, United are back kind of thing. I think Liverpool and City will probably drop points at Old Trafford.
Possibly one of, if not both.
If
I think you might be underestimating how good us and City are, and overestimating how good United are.
I think what I'm overestimating there, if anything, is how good Tottenham are. Because my basis for comparison is literally that they beat Tottenham 1-0.
Yeah.
Whereas Tottenham have proven themselves to be absolutely fucking shite and completely unreliable so many times this season. And yet, it's because of the golfing quality between the good teams and the rest of the Premier League. Tottenham are where they are in the league. And that is literally down to the fact that there are 14 teams in this league who are not worth concerning yourself with normally. Obviously, there are a couple of curveballs in there, your Leicesters, your West Hams, your Evertons, your Wolves is exactly that kind of thing. But the majority, there are 10 Premier League sides that everyone who has ambitions of finishing 6 and higher should beat every game.
Yeah,
they play them. And Liverpool have done very well at doing that this season. We haven't dropped a point to anyone outside the top 6 yet, which is fucking ridiculous. Like, can we just fucking concentrate on how incredible that is for a second? Like, think of all the fucking quality footballers in this league. Yeah, fine, alright, they're not in the same league as the top 6, as I've just said, but, you know, with fucking dispatching teams, like, with no difficulty really at all. I mean, Brighton on the weekend could have been hard. All right, we've won 1-0 with a penalty, fine. But not for 1 minute did I think that Brighton were getting back in that game, and that's with a fucking centre half.
We didn't even have a shot on target. This is a team that has scored in every home league game since March, and we didn't let them have a shot on target.
And that's with a right back who was crocked in the warm up, and now we're paying the price for it.
A midfielder
playing centre half. It's ridiculous. I mean, we're looking at City and going, oh, well, they're playing Delph left back, they must be struggling, kind of thing. You know, Zinchenko, I'm sure he's started out as like a centre midfielder, and they've had to move him out there as well. And yet, you know, everyone's like, everyone's concentrating on their De Bruyne injuries and their David Silva injuries that they had, kind of thing. No one's looking at that. Liverpool have coped with that so much better than Man City did. Liverpool could quite easily have fell off a cliff at one point this season, and it could be now. I mean, we're talking now before Crystal Palace. Liverpool could get beat by Crystal Palace the same way Man City did, but we're just not going to. We're a better team than that.
Yeah.
I love this. Like, when we did the last episode, I'm struggling to get my words out here because there's so many things I just want to talk about how boss Liverpool are. But like, when we did the last episode, and it was just talking about, if I remember rightly, it was talking about Mourinho and, like, you know, what successes in football. But when we did it, like, it was just a case of, right, City have slipped. Now we have to win. I think it's 28 games it was at that point, or something like that. We have to win 28 games and we'll win this Premier League.
Yeah.
And now we're at a point where, alright, yeah, we're saying we probably have to win 15 now. But that's 15. Do you know what I mean? Look, that's still...
And it's 15 from 16.
Yeah.
Like, we've got breathing room.
Yeah. And that's relying on Man City being absolutely perfect as well.
Which I do not believe will happen.
I don't believe it will happen either. I mean, we can't really fixate on any particular game through the break. I don't think it's worth us doing, to be honest. They were all so long ago now that it doesn't feel worth it. All it does feel worthwhile talking about is how Liverpool have negotiated such a tricky run of fixtures. It could have been so much harder than it was.
It could have. Obviously, the City game, bit of a setback, bit of a downer. One hell of a football game, though.
It was
one hell of a football game. Like, that was two teams at the top of the game, and I could put my hands up and say City were better. City were better on the day.
I wouldn't say better, but I think you could tell which side wanted it more. It meant more to Man City than it did to Liverpool on the day. And
it was an absolute must-win game.
Yeah, exactly. And you could see it from, like, Vincent Kompany said, it's the best City performance he's ever seen. And it's a massive compliment. Like, we might get pissed off with little things like, you know, Jordan Henderson might not be passing the ball where you want it to go, or, you know, you might look at Dejan Lovren and think he's not quite what you want in a centre half. This Liverpool team is playing at such a high level that we probably would have won the league in pretty much every season other than last year.
Yeah.
Like, and that's saying Liverpool won't finish on 100 points this season. Liverpool, by all accounts, could finish on more points than Man City got last season. Liverpool might have to do it to win the Premier League.
Yeah.
I mean, if we do win our next 15, as we've said,
the calculator's out.
That's 45 points, which would put us on 102 points.
That's a lot of points.
So that's what we're saying basically is, for Liverpool to be absolutely nailed on, that has to happen, and that would have won the Premier League in any other season. And for us to look at this team and still be picking faults out, I don't think people are appreciating how fantastic this football team is, how hard Manchester City, probably the greatest side to ever play in the Premier League.
I was going to say, like, Manchester City, who have been hailed as the greatest team to have ever played on God's green earth, had to play the best game they've ever played to beat us.
And I mean, if it turns out Liverpool are just the best team to ever finish second, it would just be us in the Premier League, really, wouldn't it? Because it's just fucking the way we've been. Scored the most. We're the first team to score over 100 goals and not win the Premier League in 13-14.
We did do that.
Something like that. Fucking madness. We're not going to do it this season, though. I hope. Oh, God. Imagine doing so. Oh, I can't even begin to entertain that notion.
Yeah. So the City game was a little bit of a setback. What was your reaction to going out of the cup?
Oh yeah, we should probably talk about that, shouldn't we? Fucking hell, I forgot the FA Cup existed. To be honest.
Everyone does. He's not in it.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to be in the FA Cup until you're out of it, and then when you're out of it, you can look at it one or two ways. You can look at it as a distraction, and Liverpool now have extra weekends off compared to title rivals, fine. Or you can look at it as it was a chance for silverware this season that Liverpool now won't be going near. And you know, we're sitting there looking at well, the double's still on. The double, you know, we could still do the Champions League and the league. Man City are sitting there looking at it and they're thinking the quadruple's on. And it can't be forgotten that, do you know what I mean? They're 9-0 up in the semi-final. They've got a chance of going through to the final. In that. You know, the League Cup is City, Chelsea or Tottenham. Fine. We said Tottenham at the start of the season. I hope that comes in. That'll be fucking boss.
I forgot that.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and listen to that episode, but we did definitely say it. Well, I did anyway.
Yeah.
I think you might have said Arsenal, to be honest.
I might have said Spurs for the FA Cup.
Yeah, I said League Cup because I said that they're going to die off towards the end of the season because they aren't fit enough to sustain it. But yeah, I mean, City could buy. I mean, you could probably give them the fucking trophy now, to be honest. League Cup, FA Cup, they keep getting nice draws. They're not asked. I mean, they knocked. I can't even remember what score they finished against Rotherham, but you know, they could. That's on. Champions League, all right. They might have a tough time when they get to the latter stage. Who did they draw again?
No idea.
In the next round, again, we're not very good at this, are we?
I know who we drew.
Yeah, I know who we drew, but
we're a Liverpool podcast at the end of the day.
Man City drew Schalke.
I was going to say, I want to say Schalke.
Yeah, so they drew Schalke. Yeah, all right. Who's asked about that? The only saving grace of Schalke is that they have to travel to Schalke after they've played Chelsea to then go to Everton afterwards, which might go in Everton's favour a little bit if Everton fancy proving that they're a big team, which they won't do.
Nah, they're rolling over and having the belly tickled.
And then the league obviously is City's. You know, the City have to come at us for it, but it's not. You know, it's also City at this point.
They'll have belief that they can come back and do it after beating us.
So that's what I mean. We're looking at a double, and Man City might be looking at a quadruple. And I mean, imagine I couldn't handle losing the league to that. That would be absolutely horrible. I feel like that's what we have to stand up against there. We have to be the team who win the Champions League and the Premier League to stop Man City from doing something absolutely incredible. But with regards to going out of the FA Cup, I mean, if you'd have said to me, I think we said it in the League Cup, if you're going to go out early.
Yeah.
Go out early. Because who can be arsed going to the semi-final and then...
Oh, God, never again.
Exactly. The Aston Villa...
I don't think I ever want to go to an FA Cup semi-final ever again.
Not while they're at Wembley.
That was.
Not while they're at Wembley. I'll go when they move them, if they ever move them back to Old Trafford or Villa Park or whatever they do, but... I would never, ever, ever go near Wembley for a semi-final. It's fucking awful.
It is the worst.
It's so far away. Oh, but yeah, you know, if you get into the latter stages and you get into April and you know you're feeling how many tournaments you're in, then do you know what I mean? There's a good chance Man City play every game that they could possibly play this season, which Liverpool did in 2001 and came away with three cups. So we've seen how hard it is. Didn't get near the league that season. All right, we'd gotten back in the Champions League, but we did that through strength and depth. So they're going to be looking at it the same kind of way. Yeah. It's I don't know. Like if you'd have offered me the FA Cup at the start of the season, I'd have taken it on the proviso that we had a good league campaign where we challenged. But if you offer it me now instead of winning the league, I'm just like, no. I want every best opportunity to win the league.
Exactly.
And I'm not just the league. I want the best opportunity to win the Champions League as well, because we came so close last season to the Champions League, and that can't be just forgotten, and it can't just be written off as, oh well, that's the thing that kick-started Liverpool's league campaign this season. After this needs to be Liverpool needs to become a force in Europe again.
Yeah, well, feared in Europe. I can't remember who. I think it was a Juventus player said that Atletico and Liverpool would have been the absolute nightmares. To draw.
I think Klopp said he didn't want Dortmund and Juve. I think that's something similar like that. But I don't know whether they were kind back to us with something like that. But yeah, I mean, there was I think we spoke about it last time, where beIN Sports had somebody outside the draw and said the Spanish teams were just all saying anyone but Liverpool. Yeah, which is a massive compliment, obviously. But that they fancy coming to City, they don't fancy coming to Liverpool. That's fine. Fantastic. But I think Liverpool winning the FA Cup would have been lovely, and Liverpool being able to give the likes of Adam Lallana or maybe Oxlade-Chamberlain when he's back, give them minutes in games that aren't quite as important, would have been nice. But I'm not losing sleep over it, and I'm not gonna. I'm not. The thing that did my head in the most about it was people claiming that Jurgen Klopp had disrespected the FA Cup.
Every Premier League team rotated. No, every single Premier League team rotated.
Mate, that team wasn't disrespectful though either. That team was good enough to win that game. I mean, it was alright. Rafa Camacho, fine. 18 years old, fine. Where did he come from?
I think she let him through again.
Rafa Camacho, alright, 18-year-old right back, sound. And then Hever has to come on. But when you're looking at the starting 11 and you've got Curtis Jones on there as well, alright, it's not ideal. In terms of wanting to respect the cup, but at the same time, you've got Daniel Sturridge there, you've got Divock Origi there, you've got Naby Keita starting the game, you've got Fabinho there, Dejan Lovren, Alberto Moreno and Simon Mignolet, two experienced professionals. Do you know what I mean? We had players there who were good enough and a Premier League level, and Alberto Moreno as well.
I think you describing those two as experienced professionals is just giving me an aneurysm.
But they are though. You might hate the pair of them, and I do hate the pair of them. And if Simon Mignolet ever plays for Liverpool again, then something's gone seriously wrong. I was
about to say, you know why I'm very happy we're at the FA Cup?
Because never have to see Simon Mignolet.
Never, ever seeing Simon Mignolet play for Liverpool ever again.
I don't think we ever see Alberto Moreno play again, unless something.
I hate him less.
I disagree. I think he's just as bad. He gets out of it a lot because he loves a rash tackle. He has to. He had
a good 6 months while Robbo was getting used to the team.
Simon Mignolet had a good 6 months when Jurgen Klopp first came in. No. He did. He had a good 6 months where you were just like, you know what, he might actually be alright. No, he's not.
We didn't have that with Moreno though. He just got injured.
I'm just sick of the sight of Simon Mignolet. I don't want him anywhere near that football club.
Exactly.
I'd rather us have a youth keeper. Man City don't have a backup keeper. They're fine. We're good enough now that we don't need a fucking experienced backup goalkeeper. We can win the title with Kelleher in goal and be fine. Camille Grabada's gone out on loan,
Stick Fabinho in there. He's big.
Utility player, and he just plays where he wants.
Exactly.
It's great. But yeah, I mean, there's no way you're looking at, back to the original point. There's no way you're looking at that team and saying it's a disrespectful team, because the Premier League players. Do you know what I mean? That team. Pretty much every one of those players would get would probably get in the Wolves team. Do you know what I mean? And obviously Mignolet wouldn't and Moreno wouldn't, but that's because they're idiots. Like, the rest of them have a pretty good shot at starting for Wolves.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So how can we be disrespecting it? Like, I think we give...
It's just this narrative that the media likes to spin with every cup exit.
And foreign managers as well.
Yeah, they love... the romance of the cup and David versus Goliath, but as soon as Goliath loses, then it wasn't actually it was the real Liverpool or whatever. Like they rotated, didn't respect the cup. He wanted to go out, all that shite, and it's just
Do you think Klopp won that squad?
Probably not. I think he might be secretly glad that we did, but I don't think he wanted to go out.
I think he had flights booked to wherever the training camp is.
For one, where the training camp.
I think he had that sorted already. To be honest, I'm not saying for 1 minute he threw the game. I still think that team was good enough.
Yeah,
but I agree. I just don't think he's asked in the slightest. I think he's just sat there like, right, okay, sound. So we've got 13 days now to prepare Bayern Munich. Fine, sound.
If we're 4 points behind City at that point, I don't think the team's any different at all.
Yeah,
if we're 14 points behind City at that point, I don't think that team's any different.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think if this season had been an absolute disaster and we were sat in 5th, competing for 4th place with Chelsea and Arsenal, then there's no way he's looking at the FA Cup any differently as like a must-have silverware kind of scenario. It's one of those. It's nice to win the FA Cup when you win it, but when you don't win it, it's one of those things. And
look at the last 3 managers to win them.
Well, the other thing as well is that no one's asked. It's not a saving grace anymore.
Exactly
to win it.
Van Gaal, Wenger, Conte. Anything in common?
Yeah, they're all not in a job anymore.
Exactly.
The FA Cup's not enough anymore to secure a win and a manager's position. All right, Liverpool haven't won anything since 2012, and it was a League Cup win. Who left in that summer? Kenny Dalglish. Do you know what I mean? He left after winning that trophy. I'm just. If trophies are all you're in it for, then you're in it for the wrong thing, I think, to be honest.
Well, the vast majority of football fans will have no reason to smile ever, will we?
Exactly. Whatever. We discussed that enough last time, I think.
We did. Fuck the FA Cup.
Yeah.
I'm all about the league.
I think if we leave that one here, nice point to leave it on, I guess. Liverpool definitely out the FA Cup. Shame. But 4 points clear at the top of the Premier League.
Yes.
That's a lovely thing to leave it on. So thank you very much for listening to this one. If you could like us on, I've not done this in a while. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Podcast Addict, Podbean. I forgot the rest of them now, to be honest. WordPress, that's another one as well. Just all of them. Follow us on all the things that we normally talk about. Thank you very much. Up to 4 points clear, Reds.
Yeah.